In today's episode of the Pathfund Presents podcast, I have an interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Ben Warren, who is heading over as the head of sales and marketing at the Software Bureau. And they're doing some interesting stuff. And basically, they're working into, and we will go into much more depth in the show today, but they're working on removing the barriers when having to clean your data and cleansing your data. So today, we're going to learn a lot about what the folks at the Software Bureau are doing in depth and who they're serving and how Ben is thinking about growth for the company. So Ben, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, give us that 360 overview. What is the Software Bureau all about?
Okay, very quickly, the Software Bureau enable organizations to deploy direct marketing campaigns as effectively and efficiently and as compliant as possible. So it's relevant across many different sectors, offering a range of solutions to help with data processing, data hygiene, data validation, and mail sortation. Our core solution is actually, when we started 20 years ago, a desktop solution that people still use, but we're continuing to develop and create different solutions, whether it be desktop, web-based, or integrated APIs. So we'll continue trying to sort of develop and move with the demands of the market and technology. Mm-hmm. So as an example of that, we just launched a new solution for Microsoft Dynamics. So it's exclusive for Dynamics CRM that enables data to be cleansed within that environment without having to export and import data. So we're continuing moving, but it's all about data, which we love, making sure it's right and in the right state for marketing campaigns to be deployed efficiently, really.
That makes sense. You mentioned very briefly that there's different sort of industries leveraging this. Maybe tell us about sort of a type of company that would benefit the most from leveraging the Software Bureau. Is there like certain sizes that is required? Is that certain types of teams that need to be there in order to, make sense? Maybe tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. Well, quite simply, it's any business that holds customer data or consumer data. Because if anyone in the UK or in Europe, because of GDPR, if you hold consumer data, you have an obligation to keep it up to date and accurate, to make sure that you, if somebody moves home, then you are updating that information. If somebody passes away, then you're not sending communications to them. From an ethical perspective, that's a good thing to do, but also from a legal perspective. So anybody who holds data has to keep it up to date. And it's in their interest anyway to make sure any marketing campaigns or any piece of mail goes to the right person. But we also work with a number of organizations, mailing houses and print companies who deploy marketing campaigns on behalf of brands as well, because our data validation enables the data to be correct on a piece of mail. But also we have a sortation solution, which sortation is enabling data to be sorted before it goes to the delivery company. So Royal Mail as an example, or Whistle. If you sort it before you send it, then you get discounts on your charges. So we can make sure that the company who's deploying the campaign is getting maximum discount to make sure that the efficiency is as high as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. It sounds like a lot of marketers benefit from your solution, but tell me a little bit about sort of, who is bringing the Software Bureau into the conversation internally. Is that typically a marketer because they need better data? Is that, operations side of things? Is that marketing ops? Is that even from the tech side? Like, who's bringing it in?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because I think with data, how it's evolved within industry is changing who's getting involved in that conversation. So it would have been traditionally the marketing person, because they're the only person who manages their data within the organization, because it's what drives their communications. But as we've probably come in the last, especially from the birth of GDPR, was a big one, but with all the tech that's happening and the realization that data is driving businesses and performance, everybody gets involved now. So we're sort of trying to bridge the gap between technical people and marketing people, because the marketing people know what they want to achieve. Technical people know the technology, but not sure, understand what the marketer needs. So we're across various different individuals within an organization now, mainly marketing, because that's the sort of core area, but technical probably need to get involved if they're looking at more of an integrated API solution. Operations are interested. Finance, because why would you got to be careful when you're sending mailings, you don't want to waste money sending people to the wrong, sending mailing pieces of mail to the wrong person. But also from a brand perspective or a risk perspective, you need to make sure you're not, there's no activity. So if there's activity on your account, but we're flagging them to say they've passed away, then that's probably a reason to investigate that and make sure there's no sort of risks exposed to the business.
I see. Okay. So now, how do these folks hear about the Software Bureau? Like, what's the sort of the journey that they go through? Or in other words, what are the sort of the key client acquisition channels that you guys are leveraging in order to get them started?
Well, we're relatively small, but we are about 85% of all mailings in the UK. Any piece of direct mail that's sent, but 85% have touched our systems at some point, whether it be the initial cleansing side or the sortation through the whole journey the data goes through. Because the majority of the pieces of mail use our software, it's well known within the industry. So we get a lot of word of mouth. If somebody's moving organizations or they're looking to do a specific activity, then our name would probably prop up within the sort of a network of organizations. So word of mouth is probably one of our key ones that drives inbound. Our website, so people searching for particular activities, then we make sure our website comes up, and then making sure that journey in the website, so people going, looking, giving the opportunity to test or trial the solution, what that journey is, which I'm sure we'll come on to shortly. So that's a key one as well, so inbound, but then getting out there, keeping our knowledge, because we're just a software part of the process, but we link to many different data sources, especially for data hygiene. There's about 20 odd sources out there, so we link to all those. We're completely agnostic. We just give them the ability, give a business the ability to contact or connect to those sources. So we're in the great position to be sort of much more hierarchical, or a bit like Sweden. We're very neutral about the data, but it's about the process, and we want to be seen as the experts in that industry by making sure you're doing the right thing. So we do a lot of PR marketing around sort of thought leadership, and bit of a used phrase, but giving advice to the industry to be seen as the experts, really. So it's sort of PR, inbound, and then we obviously the traditional outbound calling as well, and looking for opportunities.
You brought up the website. What role would you say does the website play for client acquisition at the moment? How do you think about the page?
It plays quite a key role, actually, probably more than we anticipate. So we get quite a few people who visit the website, complete a form to trial. So we offer a free trial for most of our solutions, because they're some of them are quite complex. So to expect people to pay money before trialing it would be a big ask. So we offer a trial. So they would complete the form. That form then comes to us, or comes to the right salesperson or the person in the team. Apologies for my dog in the background. It comes to us, but also it's then sending communication to the individual to make sure that sales journey is as fluid as possible and as smooth as possible, but also is successful.
Very good. Cool. Okay. Makes sense. So okay, so let me ask the following then, because a lot of, head of marketing, head of sales that we're talking to, they always have also critical eye on the website itself. There's always sort of something they really like about it, something they, would love to change and move forward. So where do you see sort of the major strength for the page versus where do you see, the biggest room for improvement moving forward?
I think the website is really important, and the most strongest part is what it's saying and how it's driving conversion. So is it presenting the product in the right format, in the right way, in the right manner to engage that person, for them to want to see more, and then to also improve our conversion process later down the line. How much effort do we put onto it? We probably don't put enough. I think we expect it, because we get leads coming in, we expect it's working. We don't review it enough to say, actually, could it be better? Could we do more? Because we're probably too busy working on the leads. It's a spinning plate scenario. So I think the website is really important. Do we put enough emphasis on it? We could probably challenge ourselves on that.
Got you. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, let's switch gears a little bit. I would love to learn a little bit more about yourself and your journey. So, there's a lot of, especially if you're holding the both hats, right? Marketing and sales, there's a lot of content out there on how you could keep on educating yourself further, on how to learn more about about each of these disciplines. Like, where do you like to read? How do you keep educating yourself further? What's your platforms of choice, your peer groups? Maybe tell us a bit about that.
Well, I think we all would like to read more. We all like to be that person that's on constantly reading a book, and it can get busy looking for that rather than actually doing it. So I look for books that are relevant to me and that interest me, normally around data and marketing, but probably platforms such as LinkedIn is probably the most commonly used one now, which I'm not sure how effective that is as a sales tool anymore, but there is a plethora of information, but you can get lost in that as well. I think it can get watered down. I try and look for sort of groups within LinkedIn though, which are relevant to me and to my clients, and try and sort of engage with those. And then sort of just industry press and websites which have articles which not only are interesting to me, that we can then share or create sort of an opinion piece or a blog about, to then sort of republish into the market. So anywhere really, to be honest with you, because but not enough.
I see. Since we're slowly approaching the end of the interview, slowly but surely, I will have some rapid fire questions to learn a little bit more about yourself and your journey. What is the last book you read?
Last book is a book called The People versus Tech. So it's all about data, people versus tech, how the internet is killing democracy. So if you like data and how it operates in the market or in the world, it's really interesting or concerning at the same time.
What's the one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
I think that is sort of awareness, brand awareness, and converting all inbound leads as much as possible.
If there would be no boundaries in tech, what would be the one thing that you would want to fix for your role today?
Engaging the minute that someone engages on our website, talking to them at that exact minute rather than waiting hours or days.
What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
Closing deals.
And for the last question, if you would allow, we would do a little bit of time travel. We go back to the WIC education institution, and essentially, you're heading off out of formal education. You're heading off into your career. What's the one advice you would give yourself now, knowing what you know today?
Stay clear of sales. But if that my younger self continues to go into sales, then it would be qualification and urgency would be the key phrases I would tell myself to always think about every time you talk to any individual within the sales journey, is making sure you're gathering as much information as possible and you're always urgent in terms of progressing that sales opportunity.
Very cool. Ben, I really appreciate you took the time with us today and shared with us more about the world of the Software Bureau. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about the softwarebureau.com, and everybody who's actually listening in, you can head over to thesoftwarebureau.com. Give us, what's one thing that they should remember about it?
Well, one thing, I think if you hold any consumer data, however much, whether it be 10 records or 10 million records, you have an obligation to keep up to date. And if they come to the Software Bureau, then we can make that process as easy and as compliant as possible to take away any sleepless nights you have about your data.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on PathFunk Presents.
Thank you very much. Thank you.